Hi, it's Jez here from Nigezza Creates. Thank you for joining me today. So I've got another quick tip for you. Do you have any old newspapers or magazines or other sort of documents that have not really stood the test of time very well, and you're thinking, I don't know how I'm going to use this? Or you might have not damaged but large bits of newspaper that you'd like to put in a journal. So I'm making some royal journals, but you're like, how on earth do I incorporate something like this in a journal? Well, I've got a little tip for you of how you can use this. So stay tuned and I'll show you my tip. So initially, when I thought about using these in my journal, I thought if I backed them onto some packaging paper, I got this quite thin packaging paper. It's quite a nice colour for the colour of this newspaper, and I thought I could stick it down. But actually, this is really quite delicate, and the thought of getting glue adhered all the way over this to stick it down, I was like, I don't think that's going to work, and I'm going to end up ripping this, because it's really easy to rip. So I took some adverts out from it, and that was me sort of ruler ripping, and I managed to sort of rip it right down there. So it was like, no, I need a more delicate way of doing it, so I could get, I was thinking, how can I get full adhesion all the way over it? And then I had a little bit of a light bulb moment. It came to me. Freezer paper. I have done lots and lots of videos on using freezer paper with paper napkins and, you know, making things with that. So I thought, why don't I try it? Why don't I try it? So I did try it, and I just did it on a little tester bit. And she says, trying to find a tester bit. I found one bit there, I've cut it down. So I just took a couple of adverts. This was at one time all joined together, and I just put freezer paper on the back, and it makes it really robust. It's curly because the freezer paper's curly, but once that's stuck down it won't. And it's now really, I could just stick that on, and that could be a pocket, or it could go on the front to decorate something, or I could back it onto card and it would be a journaling card. And now it's got the freezer paper on the back, I could glue that now and stick it down. And I'm not gonna, you know, if I put glue stick on really thin newspaper, it's liable to tear. So that is what I thought. And because of this being newspaper print, I wasn't sure how it would stand up to water. And what I've done with my napkins is I adhered them to the freezer paper, and then I tea dyed them. But what I did was I tea dyed this first. So I haven't done the whole roll, but I've done quite a lot of it. So that was my thoughts. So now I've got a nice big piece. Will you go? Oh, you won't. I'll miss that bottom bit off. I mean, there's a bit of me that feels I could take that bottom bit off and sort of stick it on there. Would actually make that a little bit, oh, you can't see. So at the bottom here, there's a bit there telling us that that is what was Princess Elizabeth at the time, because this was before she became Queen. It's this what is now King Charles's christening. So that's just telling you about the fact that it's her and the baby Prince Charles, and that she wore a hat, brown, off the face model. I love the way they describe things, as she would have done in church. So the picture was taken after church, was suggesting that that's what she would have worn in church. So yeah, and then this one's got this. So this is from further inside the newspaper. It's got a long bit coming down there, and the date there. So this was the 16th of December 1948. So again, we've got some little bits hanging off, which I could actually move that further in. Makes more sense. This long bit I might leave in. There's this long bit coming down here. I might leave it in. So let me demonstrate so you can see that it does work. She says with everything crossed, because it worked in practice. So I want it to work on this. I am going to take that bit off. So I'm just going to take a pair of scissors. I'm not going to trust it to a ruler. And I'm going to take that end bit off there. That's not sharp to the very end. So we get a pair of scissors that's sharp to the very end. So we can snip that off. There we go. And I might even now snip all of that end bit off, because that would make it neater. It's a bit hard now. Well, it's not that hard, Jez, really, is it? No, just feels it. So just take that bottom bit off. And this is a rather large piece for a journal, but I think it will be cool. And I might just stick that in the corner of that photo. I think that would work really well. I'm gonna just stick that down as it is, but I'm going to do it afterwards. So I'm going to put that somewhere safe. Watch me forget. Watch me forget. So that will now glue nicely. Well, not glue, but stick down there nicely, so we can take off that bit there. I'm going to grab my really, really long metal ruler and take that off. There we go. That makes it all easier to work with. Stick that back. And now I'm going to get my iron and ironing board to do this. So here's my homemade ironing board. I was using, the first time I got this out on camera, I was using an old table mat. But in my clearing out, I found a nice notice board that had been in my youngest bedroom when he was very young. And so it had padding on it, and it's much bigger. So I thought, oh, I'll nab that and just use the old ironing board cover on top of it. So that gives me a much bigger space. So I've got me a little iron on, and it's now ready. And I'm gonna just, it's very hard with it being, I'm just gonna go down the center of it to sort of hold it in place, and then I'm gonna turn it over. I think that's the best way to do this. So we'll run down the middle so that it holds it in place, because I don't want to go too far over the edges. I don't want your iron to touch the edges where there's plastic. Now you can still see a little bit of the newsprint underneath, which I actually like. I think that gives it a nice little look. There we go. way over. Keep moving so that you don't burn anywhere. Turn it over this way. Oh, a little bit of creasing there. But it's fine. Got a bit of thread on me. So that is, I'm going to just go down that end a little bit more to make sure the edges are really well adhered. And that's that. Right, let's just unplug my iron before I burn myself and move it out of the way before I burn myself. There we go. Get this out. So now I just want to neaten up the edges of this and take off the bit of rice paper that we don't want. It's too long. It's too long, Jez. I can at least do the sides. So I'm going to have to use my knife and my ruler. So there we go. I found this really short, well, narrow sort of cutting board, which I thought that will come in handy, and it has. So there we go. Now I'll take the knife. There we go. Put that down there. So what we'll end up with is something usable. So now I've got a more robust bit of the newspaper, and yet there's creases there where the newspaper was originally creased, but I think that works really well. I want to just use this, stick this in there, and I'm just going to be a bit careful, and I think I'll use a bit of colour to glue that down, because I'm afraid of putting a glue stick on it, because I think it might rip with a bit of glue stick. Whereas this, I'm not rubbing anywhere, so I'm going to use my tweezers and we'll stick this up there. So that is now ready to go. You've got journaling space on the back if you wanted it. Now it is quite big in terms of going into a journal. I do have one of my royal journals is a little bit bigger, so like so. I'm not sure how this would fit, so if we go get a page maybe here, it's too wide even for that, so I think it's something that we're just gonna end up folding in. It could even be something that I stick in a pocket that I will eventually make, you know, sort of in the back cover. So I could even sort of fold it along the original folds, and then it can just pop in a pocket and just be something that you pull out and look at. It's just a nice piece of original ephemera. It does fold quite nicely along the corner bits there, less likely to damage further now, and then it could go in any pocket. Could get tucked in like so. That's quite nice actually. Quite like it there. That works a treat. So yeah, that is my quick little tip using freezer paper with old bits of newspaper that you want to incorporate in your journal. So hope that was useful. I have other ideas for using freezer paper, and so I will bring you them as and when I get to do them. Okay, thanks for joining me. See you all again soon. Don't forget to like and subscribe.